for council meetings. Just one caution to keep in mind, as those packets come out on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a day that City Hall is closed, so if you've got questions in regards to anything that may be on the agenda for January 3rd, that evening of the, is it Friday the 31st? City Hall will be closed, so you certainly want to make contact to department heads or whoever is appropriate as early as possible on those items. With that, correspondence, do we have any correspondence?
No.
No correspondence. Council comments. John?
Couple. I was looking over the agreement that we have with C-Tran in particular, and on the agreement we have with C-Tran, it says that the person appointed to the C-Tran board shall be appointed by the governing bodies, plural. This is in conflict with this document here, which is stating that only you and Mayor Dennis have the ability to appoint. So my understanding of reading that document is it actually is a joint decision between the council and the mayor to confirm the person. Is that correct?
Which documents do you have from C-Tran?
I have the actual C-Tran that when we first entered into an agreement with them on this position. I was provided by RJ. It is states in there when it talks about sending a representative to serve on the board. Sorry I didn't bring it with me. I wasn't expecting that we'd have this on the table tonight. It talks about how the appointee is appointed by the governing bodies of both cities. And so I would take that to mean as governing bodies, the councils and the mayors. I think we need to get some clarification on that probably from legal.
We could certainly do that. Sounds like you've got something we didn't have available to us when we had
Yes.
those discussions, so.
Could you give me a copy of that, John? Email it.
I could probably, the fastest way for you to get would be from RJ,
Okay.
since he's the one that provided it to me. Now, the one in regards to RTC, I did not or could not find an actual original agreement with them. I'm hoping still that RJ or whoever would be able to find that original agreement we had with RTC.
I don't know if it would be an agreement per se, or if it's just in their bylaws,
Right.
but we could certainly. find
Whatever
out.
language there is, I think we need to go back to the original documents on that. While I do appreciate C-Tran's intervention as far as wanting to have Councilwoman Kostin serve on there again.
RTC?
RTC, I'm sorry. I think it's important that the councils also have the say in who they want to represent on those boards. So that's my position on that.
Okay.
So I would just have a question on that, since the representation on both C-Tran and RTC is kind of a bilateral commission or appointment from both cities, Camas and Washougal, then it would have to be a joint decision by both cities for those
Right.
choices, selections.
And it would be, as I remember correct, if I think I'm correct, back in January, we actually voted on this as a council to confirm Ms. Kostin and Ms. Dietzman to these positions. And what was laid on the table before us was that for this one particular year, this year, they would stay in the positions in which they were, because we were actually supposed to be C-Tran this year. So, for this, if we proceeded down this road and reappointed Councilwoman Kostin to this position, we then would be having a third year where we don't have representation on C-Tran, as far as from the city of Washougal. I've never seen Ms. Dietzman at our meeting ever asking us how we feel about certain issues. So, when I say representation, I'm talking about people from our own council.
Okay. Yes. Dave?
First of all, I want to thank Molly for her service on this board. And I appreciate Mr. Berkman's dilemma here. Don't think this is the way to solve it. I think that these particular regional bodies need two things. One is a fresh approach and a new direction. And the other thing is to get some diversity of opinion on these boards. There isn't any. So if you're going to have meaningful discussion, you need to have people with different viewpoints, and I don't see that on the board right now.
I beg to differ. I've watched a number of these meetings on Clark Vancouver television, and to say that Commissioner Milkey and Commissioner Stewart have similar points of view, I just disagree. And the other thing is on both of these boards, the learning curve is, or the learning barrier is huge. It probably takes a year to be able to have all of the pieces to actually understand what's going on. And so I think that there is tremendous value to continuity. And I would encourage you to watch some of those meetings and maybe even talk to Jeannie Harris, who's a council member from Vancouver, as opposed to Mr. Councilmember Berkman, for example. I think they, as often are not on the same side of an issue. So I would suggest that there is diversity on that commission and on CTRAN as well.
Michael?
Mr. Mayor, with regards to the 2011 committees and liaison positions, were all of these positions voted on by majority of the appointment committee?
No, only the first 4, not counting the mayor pro tem.
Okay.
That's why I included the municipal code in the back, which in code it calls out just for the 4. David?
Thank you. I agree that Commissioner Milkey and Commissioner Stewart, thank you, seldom agree. However, I don't consider this to be diversity of opinion. Milkey is a one-man minority on the commission. It's rough for him to get a second on his motions. He very seldom does. So what you've got here is not diversity, but tokenism. And I'd like to see a more diverse commission to lead to a better discussion of the issues. Thank you.
Any other items from council? John?
And while I do appreciate Councilman Greenlee's position on continuity, unfortunately, I don't share that viewpoint in regards to anything from elected officials to appointed positions. These positions, unfortunately, the CTRAN board and RTC aren't directly elected by the people. They're supposed to be directly elected by the bodies that represent the people. So to me, I hear the same arguments for people why certain elected officials shouldn't be reelected because of continuity and the wisdom and knowledge they have. I think the same argument can be made as well for these boards that fresh ideas